Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Talk About Transformers. It's been a minute since my last upload. My family and I ended up finally being able to go on the vacation we wanted to go on, so we were preparing for that. And I had worked for almost 2 weeks straight before I ended up taking time off to go for that. But we're back from vacation, and I'm back to filming. I got a couple of finds during that break, one of which I will review down the line, but for now, we are going to be taking a look at the Transformers Legacy Wave 2 Deluxe class Decepticon Wildrider. He is one of the Stunticons. He is the third Stunticon. He is the third Stunticon I've acquired. The first being Dragstrip, the second being Motormaster, who I have not reviewed yet, but it is coming, as you saw in my box video if you watched it. But to start out, we'll go ahead and take a look at the box here. You've got the artwork of Wildrider. One moment, please. My co-host is trying to rip my glasses off. Alright, you'll see him in a bit. But starting off here, you have Wildrider in his vehicle form in the artwork on the box. Decepticon Wildrider, Transformers Legacy. He is a deluxe class in multiple languages, some of which you may or may not be able to read. Here on the side we have Transformers with the Generations and Takara logos. This is the window where you would be able to see him. There is his instructions, which as always I have not used. Age is 8+. He is 2 out of 5 for Menasor. I want to say Motormaster was 3 out of 5, but I could be wrong. It could have literally said 5 out of 5. I did not keep the box. Here you have that same mosaic artwork that was on the Wave 1 boxes with the Generations and Legacy logos. On the other side of the box you have a up-close version of Wildrider's face, as well as the full body photo artwork of Wildrider in robot mode. On the top of the box we showed that. The bottom of the box has the barcode. I found this at a Target. And words and things. Here is the back of the box. We have Decepticon, Stunticon Wildrider. There he is in the robot mode. It takes 13 steps to convert him. Transformers. There he is in his vehicle mode in an actual picture with the Hasbro logo and a little QR code and words and things. And my glasses are being taken off her again. Come on. You're ruining the show. Yes, you are. You're ruining the show. The people will see you during the size comparisons, I promise. Get down there. Alright, that pretty much does it for the box. So we'll throw that out. And we'll get Wildrider in here and adjust our camera as necessary. Ooh. And there you have Wildrider in his vehicle form. We'll go ahead and take a look at this. I do not want to give you the false impression that I am familiar with all of the G1 Stunticon vehicle modes. I just know that Breakdown's a Lambo and I want to say Dead End's a Porsche. I don't remember what Wildrider is, to be perfectly honest. And I even just saw a post about the Breakdown remold / repaint, and the name of the car was on that and I still don't remember. Forgive me. But he's got a red stripe painted down the side. He has silver paint on the black wheels here. The windshield here, the windscreen windshield is all red plastic, as Wildriders are wont to have. The top has a lot of details on it, but the only paint is on these clear red sections and the Decepticon logo on the front of the hood in purple. The color matching is pretty good, actually. You can see it on camera, but in person, it's barely noticeable. And if it sounds like I'm struggling for my life, it's because I'm trying to steal my glasses back from my co-host. Here on the back, you have lots of molded details, but not a lick of paint back here. The other side of the car is basically the same. The front, again, molded in details, but no paint at all. And then here's the bottom of the car. You can see the robot kind of scrunched up under here. These are the bottoms of the feet, the forearms, and the chest. Come on, cooperate. you want to be seen by the people so bad. Get down there. Get down there. Alright. That's pretty much it for the vehicle mode. He does roll, as rolling things should. The front wheels are the clips on the inside, and the back wheels are the clips on the outside, but he will roll for you. Oh, look at that. Something on my floor here of the studio, filling space. But that's it for vehicle mode. He does come with 2 guns that can attach, similar to drag strips, but they are posts and ports, so they aren't like secure. You can actually angle one up if you want, like that. We'll go ahead and put one down and take a look at one individually. The gun is molded in black. The gun is molded in black plastic, and it's got some hollow bits to it, but that's just, you know, molding for the gun's sake. There's purple paint on it, on the little scope up here, as well as the barrel, and on the other side, the same kind of hollowness there, so it's not just like a one-side thing. It's meant to be part of the gun. And then this big old hollow chunk here is obviously the port to this side's peg, so you can plug them together. Then you've got the handle down here, which is a peg too. 5mm pegs. You can take the guns and store them via these 2 holes on the back of your Wildrider in forward-facing or rear-facing directions. And there, he looks like the box art, all armed up, if that's something you want to do. And we'll go ahead and just put these back together for now, off to the front, and we'll get some size comparisons in, and then we'll go ahead and get into the transformation. Alright, starting off with size comparisons, here he is with the Core Class Starscream from Kingdom. I am only doing the 4 main official size classes from Core up to Leader at this point. I took out the extra KO Seekers because I got tired of, you know, saying all the words involved with the fact that they were legends but oversized and whatnot. So there you have that comparison. Here he is with the Deluxe class Bumblebee movie Ratchet from the Studio Series Deluxe class comparison. Here he is with the Voyager class Sound Blaster in his Space Shape mode from your Siege Netflix timeline roundabouts there for your Voyager class comparison. I know that Wave 2 Legacy Voyagers include a non-scuffed up sound wave in that, but I have this mold, and so I will not be getting that sound wave, in case anyone is curious. Here for your Leader class size comparison, we have Tyrannicon Rex from the Jurassic Park crossover set, which of course shares a mold with the Kingdom Beast Wars Megatron, if you have that figure for size comparison. Here for a character specific size comparison, we have him with fellow Stunticon Drag Strip in their vehicle mode, so you can see what they look like and how they're going to look with each other. With the Stunticons, I'm probably going to do a comparison with each one as we add it, so we'll get the whole group shot eventually. I don't know if I'm going to do Menasor in the near future, or if I'm going to wait till I have the other 2 vehicles, then do Motormaster. Then I'm definitely doing Menasor as its own video, but I don't know what order I'm doing that in. Now, the next size comparison is going to be with my co-host, and I must warn any of you that have a phobia of snakes, reptiles, but snakes in particular, that you might want to look away from the video. We are going to show off my co-host, and then I'm going to say that the size comparisons are over, and that is when it would be safe for you to look back. And for our final size comparison, here he is with my ball python. His name is Vicarian. Any Mass Effect fans will recognize that. And his nickname is Nanner, and he's going to run off with Wildrider, and he is just my co-host for the day because I had him out when I started recording. So now he's here through the whole process. So you can see how big the Transformer is compared to the Nanner. Right, the size comparisons are over with, so any of you who have a phobia of reptiles, snakes in particular, may look back at your screen. Anyone who did not look away, that was my ball python that I have mentioned having in the past. You finally got to see him. and I hope that you enjoyed it. But getting into the transformation for Wildrider, it's actually been a minute since I transformed him because I've been getting so much new stuff. But what I like to do is kind of give the front hood a wiggle. I want to get a little crack started here in the windshield so I can pop it up, fold it up for now to get it out of the way. That'll allow you to fold the windshield forward more. We're going to pump these sections here out. So what you're going to do is just going to pull out, and they're going to come out and down at the same time on these armatures. So we're going to pull them out and down on both sides. And then what we're going to want to do is pull the arms out. One moment, I have a glasses obstruction. I do wear glasses, in case I hadn't mentioned that. What we're going to do is get the arms pulled out from the sides here. So we're going to go ahead and do we want to do that first, or do I want to do the feet first? I feel like I want to do the arms first, but let's go ahead and try and fold the feet out. Okay, yeah, we'll do the feet first. What we're going to go ahead and do is just fold the feet out to the side. And then we're going to do a traditional kind of leg foldy out here. You've got two tabs that rest under the roof, so we're going to go and make sure those are out of the way. And we are going to pull the legs out. I got the arms popped out a little bit, tried to wrestle them out, so they normally won't be in your way as much. And the knees are actually on kind of those stoopies. So if you just fold it out, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to actually start thooping the knees out. So it sounds violent, but it's not so bad. So we'll thoop our knees out and get those nice and straight so that they're pointing up. And then we can go ahead and shut the legs back up and fold the feet down. And then what we're going to do here is rotate the waist 180 degrees so that the front of the shins and the front of the waist line up with the front of the chest. We can go ahead at this point and bend the hood of the car forward, just so that way if we want to move this back we can. We could have done that at any time, I think, but this is the time where it became relevant to me. We can go ahead and fold the arm out now, and the hand is just in the arm. You can rotate it out like that. It's on like a little ratchet, and then the elbow is actually tabbed in or clipped in via this little rectangular feature here. Actually kind of snugly clips into that a bit, so we can unclip the elbow, get the other wrist out. My glasses are being taken over again, and there goes the camera. I was trying to avoid that so hard. Come on, Nanner, cooperate. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and separate the legs. Why not? So for the backpack, to finish it off, I fold this all the way down. It feels like it gets stuck on something before everything else is transformed, and I don't know if it's just me or if there's actually something in there. I think it's just my brain, but I fold it all the way down after everything's said and done. You can leave this stuff unfolded. Let me go ahead and raise up a little bit here for you. You can leave this stuff unfolded, or if you want to, you can tuck it back up, so that way he's just got the fully formed hood on the back. And I know a lot of people have gripes about this backpack, but I mean, the original toys, the hood's literally just folded over the back, and everyone's okay with those. And you know, the robot looks alright. He does a decent job at being a foot, which I did not show because that's going to come in the Metasaur video, and I didn't have to explain how to break him in half or anything like drag strip. So there you've got the backpack. You can do it this way, or you can clip these back in and you can have it on this way. I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out which one I like to have them spread out on more, spread them out on that one, and then the other one is going to have a backpack. We'll leave it this way for now so I don't have to keep talking about it and changing it. Last but not least, we're going to pop the hood or the chest forward, fold the head out, and then pop it back into place. There are a couple of tabs there, almost like teeth, that kind of line up and hold that in, but it's pretty much just friction. There isn't a solid tabbing surface. And then there you have Wildrider in his robot mode. So we'll go ahead and get him back here and cut the feed so that way I can change the music up. This is more a reminder for me than letting you guys know at this point. It's been so long since I recorded stuff that I don't remember how to do it anymore. And now that we have him in robot mode, we can go ahead and take a look at the details on him. So we're going to raise up and get a look at his face here. And he has, I want to say it's molded in the darker plastic here. There is a block for light piping, but the eyes are painted a kind of shiny silver, not silver, purple, like a metallic purple, the same purple that is on the guns here is what his eyes are painted in. So why light piping? You're trying to save parts and stuff like that. Why mold this clear plastic part if you're going to paint over the eyes? Other than that, the face is painted in the same red that is on his arms here, and it looks good. As far as I know, this is a pretty Wildrider-y head sculpt. I am not, the most G1 knowledgeable, but third-party figures and stuff I've seen have had something sufficiently similar to that anyway. Here on the chest you have some silver paint with some blue paint on that. I want to say all of this is painted. This darker gray hair is probably painted, and then this is all unpainted. Down here you got big old screw holes there. Might bother some people. I don't. None of that really bothers me too much. I just like playing with the toy. So down the forearms you got lots of molded details in here, and since they have been painted in red, a lot of that molded detail will pop. And then you've just got the molded gray forearms there. The rest of the front of him is completely unpainted and therefore completely boring, with no qualities that pop whatsoever except the black from the tires here. So that's a bit of a letdown, especially considering that most of the paint on this guy is just red stripe in vehicle mode. I feel like the biggest ball they've dropped so far on the two Stunticons that I've reviewed is the paint in the robot mode being so flat. I know G1 wasn't the most extravagantly detailed, but you molded all these details in that weren't on the show models. Why not paint some of them? Coming up the side, you've got more color because you've got the paint from the vehicle mode showing through on, with the wheel silver and the stripes and whatnot. You've got some molded detail on these thighs here. The torso looks pretty good as a torso, and then you've got the backpack hanging off of it, which we will talk about in a minute here, more than I already did. Then the side of the head with its little spikies. There's the useless block of clear plastic that is the light piping. Maybe they just wanted to fit something else on the sproof that the windshield was on, I don't know. And then you've got the backpack. Here it is from the side. It is a pretty big backpack, but as far as I remember, I think we had a copy of either the Combaticons or the Stunticons when we were kids. I'm pretty sure they were either the Robots in Disguise ones or just a bootleg you could find at like a discount dollar store, kind of like Big Lots or something like that. But I mean, they all had stuff kind of like this. This is like G1, in G1's blood to have stuff like this. So I understand that we have better engineering now and that this can be a letdown, but it's there and it looks kind of like the style of the show, and I'm not completely upset about it, especially because it looks alright from the front all folded up. When it's folded out, these things just kind of almost give me the impressions of someone who's just kind of like loosely wearing a jacket off their back, like they don't have the sleeves on, they're just flowing off of it. Now that is, that's like a very vague way to look at it. It doesn't look like an actual coat, mind you, but it gives me the same impression of just something on the back that's just hanging there, draped down like cape-like almost. The only part of the backpack I don't care for is just the big old ice cream scoop of a windshield here just hanging off the butt of the backpack. I don't like it more when they're flared out like this than when they're tucked up, and I don't know why, but that is how I feel about it. And coming down the back of the legs, you have just the back of the car in all of its unpainted glory. I'm gonna say this now, from what I've seen in pictures, I think that Breakdown does it better with the paint, but I'll have to wait till I get him in hand to confirm that. And as far as articulation goes, we'll go ahead and zoom back out here and just kind of hold him. We've got a swivel at the head. If it's definitely not a ball joint, and if it was, it doesn't act like it's a ball joint at all. At the shoulder we have universals, so we can go out pretty much 90 degrees. You can rotate the shoulder. You can only rotate about this far back before it starts running into the windshield when the shoulder is extended, but you can rotate it pretty much all the way up when the shoulder is down, so you just kind of gotta play with the joint, figure out if you can get it where you want it to go, but it's not going to do a full 360 thanks to the backpack. You do have a 360 bicep swivel here, and you do have a bend at the elbow that's basically 90 degrees. The only wrist articulation is due to transformation, so he can bend his wrist in like so if you want that. We'll go ahead and straighten that out. Take a look down here. Due to transformation, as we saw, I'm just going to lift that out of the way to make it easier to turn. He can rotate his waist 360 degrees. The backpack does not get in the way because it all sits above this flap. And if that's not getting in the way, the backpack won't. Go ahead and put that down, then I'm not spinning him anymore. The backpack will still allow you to go pretty much all the way back on the hip. He can go more than all the way forward, so if you lean him forward a little bit, technically he can do a full straight split, just not perpendicular to the body. As far as the spread goes, it is above 90 degrees. He can look like he's holding his feet up and hurting. That just looks painful to me, personally. And then coming down to the thigh, there is a mushroom joint that gives you a full 360 at the thigh. The knee bends 90 degrees when the leg closes up. These joints that we had to click out for the vehicle don't really move, and I wouldn't want to anyway because they are super stiff and they're not going to do much for you, especially because it opens at the front. That's it for his knees. Then standard at this point, you've got an ankle rocker, and it's a really good one. And then because of transformation, he does have a forward move at the foot, so you can have him, you know, doing this whole deal where you can angle his foot forward. So pretty decent range of articulation for this figure in the deluxe class, especially because the backpack doesn't really get in the way of much. As far as this chunk goes, you can kind of move it if you have to. This is what kind of gets in your way more, and that even if this wasn't here, this would be. So you can't be mad at that for articulation purposes, people. And that's pretty much it for the articulation. We'll go ahead and arm him up. We can take his guns, and they can store anywhere. There is a port, which is basically on the back of his legs. And even then, they're almost going down farther than the foot. So I don't know that I would store them there like that. Mostly, you could also store them on the front of his legs here if you want. So that way you can just reach down and grab them, but we're going to go ahead and store them in the hands, right there in the hands, where they should go. And we'll go ahead and we'll get him kind of posed up, and then we'll take a look at some robot mode size comparisons. Alright, and beginning off with our size comparisons for robot mode, here we have him with Legacy Core Class Skywarp for your Core Class comparison. For your Deluxe class comparison, here he is with the Studio Series Bumblebee Movie Ironhide figure. For your Voyager size comparison, and with fellow Decepticon as well, here we have him with Soundwave. Sorry, my brain almost hiccuped there. And this is the Netflix tape deck version, but it has pretty much the same robot as you would see from the space shape that is Sound Blaster. And for your Leader class comparison, here you have him with the Kingdom Leader class Beast Wars Megatron figure. And I just realized that most of my size comparisons are Decepticons or baddies in general. So it's interesting to see how many figures that I get doubles of that are good guys compared to bad guys. And then the last comparison, once again, if you're just tuning in, you didn't catch the beginning of the video, the last size comparison today is my assistant, my lovely distracting assistant that's been with me the whole video. He is my ball python. So if you are not inclined to see reptiles, particularly a little snake in this instance, please look away until I do declare that the size comparisons are over. And last but not least, for size comparisons, here he is with my ball python, Nanner, who is just giving his legs a hug, and he is sniffing all over the place, just figuring out what this is. Daddy's filming space is new to him, so he's gonna check that out, and I hope you guys enjoyed him helping me make the video today. Alright, and with that out of the way, that will do it for our size comparisons. Anyone who is not inclined to reptiles, welcome back to the video for the final thoughts. As far as the sculpt goes, I think it's a good sculpt. I think that it looks like Wildrider for the most part, from what I understand it, from a person who doesn't know G1, just from an appeal sense, the sculpt is nice. The paint where applied is done well. I like that they applied it there. My only negative with the paint is the fact that there needs to be more of it. The base color they chose for the plastic on my camera almost seems to have a green quality, and now that I'm looking at it in person, I can definitely see kind of a blue or green tint to it. It should just be more of a charcoal gunmetal blackish gray, if I'm not mistaken, so that could throw some people off. He's going to be a leg for the most part, and he's going to be a G1 accurate leg, where he's on the back of it. You have no idea how many complaints I've seen that the cars aren't on the front. Well, in your precious cartoon, in the original appearances, he was on the back, so, you know, you're gonna cry about something. I can't help you people sometimes. But that's it. Articulation is excellent for Deluxe, not counting where the windscreen backpack gets in the way. He actually has more articulation than drag strip, because even though it's transformational, he does have wrist articulation, which drag strip did not have. And I think that for the most part they have similar articulation throughout, otherwise, barring the restrictions of the 360 rotation of the shoulder for this guy. So articulation is good. I think the alt mode looks really fun, just needs more paint. The robot mode looks good, and he makes it really good back of a leg, I think. So overall, it is definitely going to look the part, at least in my eyes, of a Wildrider in your Stunticon team. The accessories, he comes with 2 guns. There is actually some paint on them that breaks them up a little bit, so that's nice. And they do kind of, you know, they sit on the back of the car, which I guess, you know, they each had some double-barreled guns in the G1 that would plug onto them. So, you know, the toys being able to have 2 guns apiece that are all able to plug into the back of the car is a good nod to that, as far as I understand it. So that's nice. I like it when they come with a couple of guns, or at least 1 or 2, you know, at least a weapon. Like the original Last Night Hot Rod figure didn't come with a gun at all. So even if the new one was completely awful, which it's not, and I'm looking forward to it, it would win over the original Hot Rod from the last night, because it actually has a gun. But I digress. Tangent aside, I think that if you were not sure if you were going to get this set or not, having 3 out of 5 in hand, knowing that Dead End is going to be a unique experience, and that this is, in my opinion, a decently solid base for a Wildrider that's going to look different enough for my brain to be happy, since they're just going to be legs at, you know, at the end of the day. I think that this is a Minosaur worth getting, and I really hope that we get another combiner. What I would like to see, go ahead and comment below with your opinion, but I would like to see the Combaticons, or maybe an Autobot combiner, like the Protectobots. I think that the Aerial Bots got a decent run in Combiner Wars, and they were one of the only ones that did. So I'm glad the Stunticons are getting a second chance. I think the Aerial Bots, even though I don't have them, if you have the Combiner Wars, I think you're doing good there for the most part. And I think the Fensaur might have been pretty good too. I was unfortunately financially unable to do a lot of purchasing. I didn't do any yet for Combiner Wars. I purchased very few for Titan's Return, and I don't think I got anything really from Power of the Primes either. Most of my purchasing at that point was in the movie lines and then the studio series, because that's what appealed to me more on a limited budget. So I don't have a lot of experience, but I think the Protectopods might have been okay in Combiner Wars 2. I don't know how the Combaticons fared, but I know that Blast Off wasn't really good. Even the version that is kind of looking like Blast Off, so maybe we'll see some of those. I don't know. But I'm going to stop wasting your time now, and I'm going to sign off for the video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that my snake didn't scare you, and I hope that you like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this and enjoyed it. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next episode of Talk About Transformers. Alright, so this is not so much an end skit as it is information, so there will be no funny here unless you think the way I talk is funny, and then everything I do is going to be funny for you. But I did still want to do my 1 year anniversary ideas of redoing my first ever review, just kind of in the current film style, so that way we can see what I've managed to do in a year as far as how things have changed. And then I want to review my favorite figure, which up until recently was actually my Black Apple oversized / upgraded version of the MPM Optimus Prime mold. But then I got this guy, and that's why he's in the shop, because this guy has become my favorite figure for my collection as a whole right now. I do have a blackout bias. I've mentioned it before, I'm pretty sure. But this figure just does a lot for me. All the weapons that he comes with, minus the blast effects, are actually stored on him right now. I found a decent way to store that propeller on his back, which I'll detail when I review him. But his miniguns are stored on him right now, and no, they're not stuck on his arms because they have another storage spot. And then everything stores in the vehicle mode. The vehicle mode is almost, I would want to say it's at least 95% covered up, even the bottom of it and stuff. So this figure does a lot of cool things that appeal to me personally, which is why it's my new favorite. And so hopefully you guys are looking forward to that review. And that's about it. I don't know when I'm going to film my next one. I'm still tired from vacation, and I'm still working. Basically, I'm doing a 7-day work week in a span of 6 days. So that's 56 hours in 6 days. So I really hope that you guys can stick with me while I try and figure out when I can film and get videos out. And I appreciate everyone who watches and subscribes and all.